Greetings, Galactic Jedis. Welcome to my Monday Night Live. Today, I am going to be talking about what's happening as far as the dark side surrendering. We're talking about the clones. There has been a huge surrender that has taken place where even Pope Francis is acknowledging that. But before I get to the surrender of what was left of the cabal, also on an intergalactic level, there has been many planets that were captured when Enki took over Nibiru, or his son Marduk. And some of these planets, consisting of 21 different solar systems, where Enki was setting up different luge farms, were also recuperated by the Galactic Alliance. And then there's also great information coming from the intergalactic level, from the intergalactic events that are taking place with the Andromedan galaxy, as far as being our sister galaxy. And also there is another thing that's happening right now, which also tells us that the forces of light are cleaning house on every level of reality, is that a lot of the humans that were taken off world during the brain drain in the 50s and 60s, to be taken off to become slaves in the secret space program, slave trade, have all been recuperating as I speak. So before I go into details, guys, I just wanted to acknowledge today's date. Today is March the 18th. For those that don't know me, my name is Ismael Perez. I am the author of Our Cosmic Origin and also The Secret Government, a book that is about to come out. Once again, I'm going to be republishing that book pretty soon. I welcome everyone here. Thank you so much for being here on a Monday evening. And just to give you guys some reference of what happened on this very date, on March the 18th, in 1986, Buckingham Palace announces the engagement of Prince Andrew to Sarah Ferguson. In 1981, the United States discloses biological weapons test in Texas in 1966. And in 1977, Congo President Marian Nagubi is killed by a suicide commando. Well, we all know that it was all probably orchestrated by the cabal, right? That's what they do when people decide to go against them. They always end up saying, oh, they committed suicide, or they just decided to disappear, or they were murdered or something. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm excited, guys. I am excited because Nisera and Gesera, it looks like Project Odin, which is the White Hat Earth Alliance internet grid set up by QFS and the Starlight system, or Starlink. I'm sorry, the Starlink system is about to replace the old system, or the old internet, which means that EBS is close. So on a geopolitical level, Mr. PUTIN, I'm going to speak in code from the East, has already pinned down the KHARI ZIAN, the mafia, right? Khazer. I'm not going to finish the word. You guys know what I'm talking about. That has been running the Ukraine. They are surrendering. And a lot of this information is coming from also people like Pope Francis, who is, by the way, a puppet as well and a clone. And he is soon to be stepping down. There was a prophecy that was indicating that Pope Francis was going to be the last pope in the administration of the Vatican, and that prophecy is now coming to light. And we do know that Pope Francis has been a working bee for the cabal. I guess all the popes have been, if you really want to, get technical when it comes to this. So Pope Francis admitted that the Ukraine should have the courage to wave the white flag and surrender, to RUSSI, I got to speak in code, and the Planetary Liberation Earth Alliance team. All right, it's finalized, guys. It's finalized. The EU High Representatives for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Joseph Borrell, also confirmed that the KHAR SAR, I'm not going to say it, Khazarian, you know what I mean? Surrender when he wrote on his blog, that's good news. If the current global geopolitical tension continues to evolve in the direction of the West against the rest, then Europe's future is risk to be bleak. So the era of Western dominance has indeed definitely ended. And what they mean by Western dominance is the victory of the Earth Alliance over what was remaining of the cabal. Again, 3, 4 years ago, the real people were taken out. Now we're taking out the last of the clones, okay? The last of the clones. So in further sign, let's just call them the KHM for abbreviation, right? You know, the people that run, the what's happening in Ukraine and in Israel, right? Let's just call them that. I don't want to say that word here on YouTube. Let's just call it KH. You guys know what I'm talking about. Kazakh. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so the Kazakh-controlled U.S. regime is finished. Russian President Putin says Washington has become a laughingstock to the rest of the world, because it is about time that the world came to the knowledge that the people that run DC are not in favor of the people, that are in fact fascist. Okay, so Mr. Putin is going to be releasing or he's going to be doing a lot of interviews. Better yet said, he's going to be announcing a lot of this stuff worldwide, and I think that Mr. Putin is going to pull the final card. And then as a result of that, the Earth Alliance will be in key position for the announcement of, the announcement of the truth to the public. This is something we've all been waiting for. So justice is served, guys. Justice is coming. Now, I also want to let you guys know that the puppets that were left signed an agreement on March 11th, which was about a week and a half ago. And this is around the time, right, when the supposed, monarch of Great Britain was diagnosed with CANCER, okay? I'm going to speak in code, right, with that illness. So this is around that time. So on March 11th, there was an actual agreement that was signed by what remains of these people, right, these puppets, that they are giving up, and they know it. They have no more fight left in them. However, let me just tell you guys this: they were going to execute another false flag sometime late in March, but they were stopped. They were stopped because the Earth Alliance is 3 steps ahead of them. Again, it's because of the fact that we, the Earth Alliance, has access to looking glass technology. We're able to pin them down before they even execute anything, because we know their every step and move. It's already been documented, right? And so as of the 11th of March of this month, there was a document that they signed surrendering their power over the earth, right? Surrendering their power over the earth. Now, this is coming from the press release. So, to prove that, the evidence for that is here. Okay, on January 24, all right, the Federal Reserve Board on Wednesday announced that the Bank Term Funding Program, the BTFP, will cease making new loans as scheduled on March the 1st. So as of this March the 1st, coincidentally, when they signed their surrender treaty to the Earth Alliance, there is no more printing of this fiat money system, fiat money currency. The printing of the fiat money is donezo, guys. All right, as of this month, the 11th. The program will continue to make loans until the time and is available as an additional source of liquidity for eligible institutions. During a period of stress last spring, the Bank Term Funding Program helped assure the stability of the banking system and provide support for the economy. After March 11, banks and other depository institutions will continue to have ready access to the discount window to meet liquidity needs. In other words, everything's being switched over to the treasury, the money structure that is backed by precious metals. In other words, as the program ends, The interest rate applicable to new BTFP loans have been adjusted such that the rate on new loans extended from now through program expiration will be on lower than the interest rate on reserve balances in effect on the day the loan is made. Okay, so pretty much the rate adjustment ensures that the BTFP continues to support the goals of the new program, right? The new program, no longer the old program, in the current interest rate environment. This change is effective immediately. All other terms of the program are unchanged. So this was passed by the BTFP, which was published under section, are you guys ready if you guys want to look this up? Section 13.3 of the Federal Reserve Act, with approval of the Treasury Secretary. So that's a huge major defeat for the U.S. corporation. They're bankrupt, in other words. For media inquiries, okay, let's see. Okay, so what this means overall is that most of the major Western banks are now de facto bankrupt. That's what that means, is that the 11th of this month, which again happens to be the day where the puppets, the last remaining strand of the cabal, signed away their power to the alliance. Okay, it's already in paper now. That is why all major CEOs are selling their stocks. Many commentators agree. Even Warren Buffett wants out from the collapse. Even Warren Buffett wants out from the collapse. IRS data reportedly shows Buffett traded Berkshire stocks in personal account, according to ProPublica. Warren Buffett was allegedly front-running or trading stocks in the personal account that his conglomerate Berkshire Hathaway was buying and selling. This is a practice that he himself in the past deemed a conflict of interest, according to ProPublica on Thursday. Let's see. So basically all this is happening. The sources say they have confirmed that the huge change has come now, even as Goldman Sachs announced their departure from the fiat system. Goldman Sachs, right? They are announcing their departure from the fiat system. It's game over, guys. It's game over for the U.S. corporation. They're bankrupt. So basically, what people are calling it in the inside world, they're calling it that this is a mega black swan event for many reasons. They call it a mega blank swan event. This is what people in the inside or the insiders are calling this type of transition. A change in control of the financial system is in charge and control of the process of deciding what humanity will do in the future. So for one, it marks the end of a millennium-old project by the families who control monotheism to impose a God King of their lineage on the entire planet, right? Which is what they were trying to do in their globalization programs, pushing towards an NWO, okay? Which is done with. That agenda has been vanquished as I speak. On a shorter time span, it marks the end of a Freemasonic project, all right? It started in 1717 to destroy RUSSI as a prelude to subjugating China. Okay, well, all right, so another good news that is taking place right now that I want to share with you guys is the fact that 45, all the charges that were, that they were charging 45 with have been dropped, which means he's going to make it all the way through, okay? There's nothing that could stop 45 from being the next, president of the United States. It's inevitable. Now, the question is, will he come into office knowing that, Brandon has been charged for treason? That's already been documented. I was actually talking about that on my live last week on Rumble before I was cut. There was a technology mishaps that took place. I couldn't go back live on Rumble. It just completely cut me off. They didn't want me to share, what I was sharing on Friday night, but it's okay. There's always other nights, right? So we do know that 45's charges were dropped. All right, he's facing nothing. He's not a criminal. All right, he's already proven himself. I guess the camera is here. Oops. There we go. Much better. There we go. Much better. All right. So another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is this is coming from Benjamin Frankfurt, who is one of the insiders working with the Chinese elders. Let's see. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So before I get to what's happening on an interstellar and on a galactic level, which I will give some good news as to what's happening, beyond our planetary world, I do want to read a report coming from Benjamin. I believe his last name is Fulford. Okay, so we do know that Mr. Putin from Russia stated that the importance. Okay, this is what's coming from Benjamin. That Putin, right, is stated the importance and genius of Elon Musk for the future. Well, it turns out that Elon Musk is actually working with this positive AI, which they called codename Taylor. I've already mentioned this. And that's how they were able to get all the information from the cabal as evidence to bring down the cabal. Okay. So even he agrees. Benjamin Fulford agrees. The reason why Putin said Elon Musk is important is because Putin knows Elon is working with the military USSF, okay, which is the United States Space Force. I've already mentioned that, I believe. So in the late, hold on one second. I just want to make sure I'm reading the up-to-date article. Okay, here it is. So they know everything. The Earth Alliance already has everything. They've already seized all of the wealth of the cabal. And the moment that the bastards realized, okay, so wrong article. You know what? Never mind. This is not, I don't have the proper article. I apologize. I thought I got it, but I guess I don't. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is coming from Saturday the 16th. Recent article. Okay, so Project Odin will go together with the EAS and the EBS. It is a military unit that supervises military forces in ground operations. Odin means observed. I talked about this before. So it means observed, detect, identify, and neutralize. That's what Project Odin means. Nothing to do with Norse mythology. It's not the dad of Thor, but it means to absorb, detect, identify, and neutralize. Okay, so during the EBS, every major media channel on the planet will be taking place over by the Alliance to broadcast documentaries for about 10 days. In the documentaries, everything will be revealed on political institutions and famous religions. The final 3 days will reveal suppressed extraterrestrial life planets and the new Earth. And this ties in with the galactic report that I'm about to give in a little bit. So Project Odin and the military Gesera, a monumental combination that promises to overthrow the last stronghold of the Cabal's hold on the Earth. So prepare for the most dramatic change in modern history when the Military Emergency Broadcast System, that's the EBS, emerges, signaling a new era of truth, justice, and liberation. Okay? The stage is set, the actors are in position, and the world is about to witness the world is about to witness a seismic shift that will reshape the course of history. Project Odin, a project shrouded in secrecy, is about to be revealed to the world. But what is Project Odin, and how does it connect to the military Gesera and the long-awaited emergency broadcast system? Project Odin, as cryptically mentioned by Ron Code Monkeys, is not just another code name. It is the key to dismantling the, I'm going to spell this, the MOSSAD media satellite, right? Which is a three-letter or three-alphabet agency that operates in the Middle East. So it's gonna totally dismantle their satellite network that has been at the center of global manipulation for too long. This bold mission is not for the faint of the heart. It is the linchpin of the quantum Starlink system, a quantum leap in technology that promises to redefine our world. The new quantum systems, part of quantum Starlink, represents a paradigm shift in technology. These systems are protected by secret space programs that operate beyond the reach of the cabal, ensuring their integrity and security. As the cabal controlled media crumbles, these quantum systems will emerge as heralds of truth and transparency. The cabal's last standing Q, 17th letter of the alphabet, the enigmatic figure behind many revelations, has predicted the elimination of the MOSSAD and the KM, and their controlled media. But what comes next is even deeper. Whiplash has hinted at a major theatrical production, a misleading depiction of World War that will actually serve as a catalyst for the activation of military forces around the world. A biblical scenario revealed in a twist of fate. This orchestrated chaos will pave the way for the activation of armed forces around the world, unleashing a torrent of events that will bring the cabal to its knees. This is already taking place in motion, right? From behind the scenes. The Nasera Gesera funds will finally see the light of day, and the people will be entrusted with the monumental task of rebuilding a long oppressed world, identifying the elite syndicate, satanic stronghold. This secret network stretches far and wide, but the 17th letter of the alphabet has given us insight into its most prominent strongholds, from the Vatican to Buckingham, from the WHITE House, right, in Washington, to the heart of China. These places hold the keys to the power of the I guess I'll say cabal. Cabal. Okay. As the dominoes fall, 34 SATANIC, 24 buildings, right? This is called them devil people. 34 devil buildings and dams will collapse, forever changing the landscape of the world. The United States, in an almost instant military installation commanded by none other than. Okay, so what they're saying is that the White Hats are actually going to be installing some sort of martial law when the EBS goes through. But it's not to put us in anything, or, it's to arrest the lackeys, all the lackeys that are associated. And there has been hundreds of thousands of lackeys, by the way, including those that are operating black markets, those that are that are working with MAFIAS. I don't want to say the word MAFIAS. All of those people as well. They're all part of the international network of the cabal, by the way. So even the MAFIAS, which are a extension of the cabal, right? The Colombians, the Godfather of Italy, right? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? The triads of China. I mean, I think right about now, every country where the cabal had his stinking and slimy tentacles had a MAFIAS, right? A mafia, you know what I mean? All right. So that's what this military activity is going to entail. The mass arrest of all of the people within the black market community as well. All right. Now, on a geopolitical, extraterrestrial, intergalactic level, I don't know if you guys remember Project Serpo, but Project Serpo began in the late 1940s when there was the two UFO crashes in New Mexico. One of them was in Arizona. So the first crash was identified in New Mexico, 1947, right? They call it the Roswell crash. Well, there was a retrieval, of technology, as well as biological, extraterrestrial biological entity retrieval, that our own military, rather the military industrial complex, decided to put hostage. They pretty much brought him to Area 51 to observe him, to hold him hostage, and to question him. Well, that EBE, right, extraterrestrial biological entity known as an EB, was coming from planet Serpo. Well, it turns out that 2 years later, in 1949, there was another crash from another extraterrestrial biological entity from planet Serpo. Well, that is what led to Project Lightning Night. Project Lightning Night also evolved into Project Serpo. So what happened was the military-industrial complex was trying to negotiate with these two extraterrestrial entities known as EBs in exchange for technology. And so the deal was this. The EBs, were thinking about it. They were like, no, we're not going to give you guys technology unless we could negotiate some plan. And the plan was this, okay? So the plan was about having 12 Earthlings that are working within the military-industrial complex to visit planet Serpo for quite some time. They were there for about a matter of 20 years or 30. And the whole purpose of this, you could say, exchange interplanetary treaties that took place between the EBs and the members of the secret space program was to explore the different star systems, and also to see what it's like to live on another ecosystem that is not part of our solar system. But what ended up happening was the EBs on their planet, they decided to hold hostage one of the 12 members, one of the 12 Earthlings that was, was hanging out in their planet, in order to study his genetics. And then that's when the EBs realized that they needed to extract human genetics in order to solve their situation of becoming too cybernetic, becoming disconnected from God. And also they realized that they were a dying race. So where's planet Serpo? Planet Serpo is located in the binary star system known as Zeta Reticuli, right? So that's where most of the grays are from. However, the original grays, going back to 560 million years ago, originated in Lyra from a planet called Apix. And I explained this in the galactic history. So going back to Project Serpo, okay? So it turns out that ever since the EBEs, right, the events of Planet Serpo was utilizing genetics that they extracted from one of the Earth humans in their planet, they started to conduct other experiments. They started to initiate new programs where they were going to begin negotiating new deals in the 1950s or the early 1950s with the Earth governments in secret in order to extract genetics from certain humans. But this is the thing, they were only allowed a certain number of humans. So eventually the EBEs of planet Serpo broke the treaties and decided to conduct a full-out genetic programming where they took surrogates, females from planet Earth, extracted their eggs in order to create a even human hybrid race. Well, after 50, 60 years of doing that, based on a lot of women's testimonies that they were used as surrogates to create a gray human hybrid, it turns out that now those kids have come to fruition. Those kids of planet Serpo, where they have been, relocated, where they have been hiding, you could say, not hiding, but, they do keep them there as opposed to not giving our own secret space program any access to their facilities where these kids are. So as of last month, it turns out that these children, these human gray hybrids that are now in their adult years, are going to be coming back to the Earth. Now, this is the thing, guys. Initially, initially they were programmed to come back to the Earth to invade us. All right, but there was a shift in the collective field of planet Zerpo. And the shift came from the idea that not only is our solar system once again emerging into the photon field, but it turns out that there are multiple bands of photon fields that are coming from the galactic core, where different planets or different solar systems are actually, passing into. So the system of Zeta Reticula 1 and Zeta Reticula 2 within the last month also luckily emerged into one of these photon belts, which are, again, there are multiple photon belts in our galaxy. And as a result of that, it completely shifted the initial programming of these human alien hybrid adults that are now adults from conquering us to that of coming and living in harmony with us. So all they're doing now is they're waiting for the conditions on this planet to be suitable for their types of bodies, because they are human gray hybrids, and that was that program wasn't necessarily evil, but again, in the eyes of the Evings, right, of the Greys from planet Serpo, Zeta Reticula 1, they were just trying to save their race. All right. So from a spiritual perspective, they are now reconnecting with Source via a soul. So as a result of being 50% human genetics, these hybrids, adults now, are connected back to Source. Now they have a soul. They've regained a soul, and they are soon to return to the Earth. So that is great news. And they are going to look different. They are going to have these big black buggety eyes, but with humanoid features. So they're going to look part human, part evens, whatever you want to call them, grays. But at the same time, they are the link. They are the mediator that is going to allow the grays through the hybrid children or adults now to continue their existence and not die out, because eventually they were going to die out. Okay. So yes, in a sense, they did time travel from their future, right? Because all extraterrestrials from fourth density, fifth and above technically come from the future, right? Because we are, in the past, right? We're actually at the center. We're in the middle point. We're at the hub. So we could say that, even the past was the future in a way, where the galactic wars took place in the past in higher dimensions. So we are at the center of the future in the past. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you guys, is that the human gray hybrid program, which was initially designed to invade the Earth, right, by the new hybrids, has backfired because the Zeta Reticula 1 binary star system is also merging into a photonic field or a photonic band of energy, high frequency energy, which is totally shifting their consciousness to one of a fifth dimensional service to others, unity consciousness based mentality. So that is the good news. The second good news involves the insectoids. All right. So besides having issues with the draconians and the grays, some of the grays, we also had issues with insectoids and certain mantis that were coming from another galaxy, from planet Zenate. Okay, so they also had initiated their own, you could say, genetic hybrid programs, but those programs were not in favor of the light. And then also those programs were not about, again, saving a dying race, because their races are actually connected to what is known as a artificial cybernetic mind hive. Okay, so we could say that the mantis, all right, not all of them, a great majority of the insectoids have fallen as victims to the AI time loop. Okay, and for millions of years, they have resorted to cloning and cybernetics. Okay, but bear in mind that they've already lost their souls long ago. Okay, with the exception of a few mantis, a few insectoids, I say within 13%. 13% of the insectoids decided to not align with AI and the cybernetic timeline. Okay, so they remained organic. Those are the ones that are working with the intergalactic councils, right? They're working with all kinds of positive and benevolent ET races. So that program that again was designed to invade the Earth from within, right, by creating a hybrid race with just a little bit of our human genes in order for them to sustain our atmosphere, right, to create some sort of an avatar that would allow their cybernetic intelligence to incarnate in bodies that are susceptible to our atmosphere. So that program was also originally designed to invade us, to create avatars that was actually going to destroy the human race. You know, it was going to be like an open invasion. That's not happening anymore. That's not happening anymore because of the fact that the guardians of our universe, no, I'm sorry, the guardians of our multiverse have already neutralized those negative programs. Okay. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is that when Enki, the negative Luciferian Anunnaki god of ancient Mesopotamia, when he installed the black cube along with the Saturn moon matrix, which was broadcasting from Betelgeuse, that's where Enki had his stronghold. Enki had a stronghold in the star system of Betelgeuse, which is located in Orion. Okay, so the star system of Betelgeuse and the star system of Rigel was broadcasting an AI signal into our galaxy. As a result of that, they had established some sort of an intergalactic computer network throughout the Milky Way and other galaxies. Okay, so those galaxies have been that were, you could say, penetrated by this intergalactic computer network, have been liberated. All right, they are no longer permeated, and they are no longer being manipulated by this intergalactic computer network. All right. So the stronghold that Enki was using in Betelgeuse was also used to bring about a conquest of 21 different star systems within our local star cluster. So for those that didn't know, we're part of a local star cluster comprised of 52 solar systems with, 7 major ones, right? We're part of the eighth missing sister. It's known as the Pleiades, all right? Within that system, which consists of over, again, 52 solar systems, 21 star systems out of the 52 solar systems were actually conquered. And one of these planets revolved around the Taygeta star system. One of these planets revolved around the Electra star system. All right. Unfortunately, Enki did possess a technology that allowed for him to conquer some of the underdeveloped worlds that were not a part of a type 1 or type 2 civilization, right? That were still very primitive, very tribal, in order for him to conduct genetic experimentations in these underdeveloped worlds that exist within these 21 different star systems. So these 21 different star systems have also been liberated by members of Radiant Guardians and Solar Warden, which is our own interplanetary and interstellar police force. So that is good news. Now, the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is that there was a planet where another group of grays, very nefarious grays, called Kepler 442. Planet Kepler 442 was located in the Rombola system, which is right outside the Zeta Reticula 1 system. They also had another nefarious plan, and they were also aligned with AI. Well, they were also trying to create, again, an avatar, a type of hybrid between themselves, artificial intelligence, and humans in order to destroy the human race. But in the nick of time, the super soldiers of Solar Warden completely, you could say, they entered their facilities on planet Kepler and decided to destroy all of those tanks where these hybrids were developing. And these are the same tanks that we watch in anime, right? Like when you watch DC or when you watch sci-fi, and they're creating these hybrids on these liquid tanks. And it seems like these creatures or these chimeras or these hybrids are like floating in the water, right? And the water is inside glass. Well, all that is real, okay? So that's how they create hybrids, guys. That's how they, it's called artificial insemination, right? Artificial insemination. So the super soldiers of Solar Warden have recently destroyed all of those, you could say nefarious hybrid races that were being brewed in the millions on planet Kepler 449. Okay, so that is good news. Okay, so what's happening? Okay, so why am I saying all this? Because justice is being served not just here in our world, but in our galaxy, and get this, even in our entire universe, because it turns out that there was a few star systems within the Andromedan galaxy that were still under the control of the AI god that were recently rescued and liberated. And what's the word I'm looking for? They were recently restored. Restored, that's the word, restored. Back to their organic, structure. So those planets are no longer invaded by artificial intelligence. These are planets that existed in the Andromeda Galaxy M31, which is a galaxy that's actually really close to the Milky Way. So those planets have been liberating. So now what that means is that the liberation of all, the sentient positive entities on all levels of reality is being conducted from the forces of light on every level. So it's not just happening here, it's happening all over our galaxy, and it's happening all over our universe. All right. So there is a huge jubilee, right, that is going to be taking place on a planetary level, on a galactic level, and on a universal level. Okay. So the 21 systems have been liberated within our local local star cluster. The remaining systems within Andromeda have been taken out, have been liberated, have been restored. And the negative hybrid programs conducted by certain groups that are not in alignment with the divine plan are also been dismantled. So that is your galactic report for the month. All right, so I do have 1,414 people. I want to welcome everyone in the house. Thank you so much for being here. And I am excited because of the fact that we are about to approach a very significant conjunction in the history of our cosmos, not just for our planet, but also for the entire cosmos. And talking about this conjunction, guys, in the last few days, we've been getting hit with 7 M flares. 7 of them have been hitting us one after the other. All right. Something is brewing. Everybody within our community that is a true empath, a true intuitive, that could really pick up, that could see the future, they sense that something big is about to happen. So because of that, because of this, beautiful event that is going to happen as a result of us entering into the equinox, right? The solar cycle, us moving from minimum to maximum, right? The biggest CMEs are about to happen in the next few weeks, especially as we get close to the solar eclipse. So I want to do this, guys. I want to make sure that as a collective, we are harnessing the energies that are going to be coming in on the solar eclipse on the 8th of April. So I am announcing a worldwide meditation on that day. I'm going to post it all over social media. I'm just going to blast it everywhere. I want to get as many people involved as possible because we're going to do this, guys. We're going to play them in their own game. We're going to use our collective minds, right? The galactic Jedis and all the light warriors on planet Earth, or most of them, bringing them together on one certain day where the energy is going to be so unprecedentedly, significantly intense, and use that energy and harness it and call in the great solar flash. We have to intend it. We have to call it in on that day when we do our collective meditation. So I'm going to put an announcement that on the 8th of April at 10 a.m., because that's when I believe we're going to have a total eclipse, 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is, 1 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to be doing a global mass meditation, broadcasting on YouTube, broadcasting on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm going to reach out to a lot of people to see if we could get some sort of collaboration going on here. where we could just also broadcast on their channels and just have a huge, massive impact, and use that, take that opportunity to really just call in the great solar flash and harness that cosmic energy and root it into the earth, in order to have the 50 new earth reality fully intact and fully emerge by no later than April. All right, why wait for it to happen, guys? Let's take action. Let's take action. So again, I am going to be announcing tomorrow on all my social media platforms that we are going to be doing a collective meditation on the 10th of April. Oh, the 8th. I think it's the 8th, right? The 8th, is it the 8th or the 10th? I'm going to have to look that up. I believe it's the 8th of April. Let me check real quick. All right, so yes, it's April 8th. So let's do it. Is that a plan? I believe it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some questions from the chat. And you know what? This idea about holding a mass meditation has actually, there's been several requests from some of the Galactic Jedis, and one in particular was, I believe her name was Ariana, I think. Anyways, I'm going to give her a shout out next time I'm on the live, because she gave me the idea. She was in my morning class. I can't believe, what was her name? Anyways, I'm bad with names, guys. All right. I'm very visual. All right. I know faces, but I would have to hear your name twice in order for me to store it within my memory banks. But I do know faces more than names. But one of the Galactic Jedis in my morning 10 a.m. class was telling me, that if we do this meditation, why not call in the solar flash as a collective? So that was like the best, the best suggestion I've ever heard. And I know her face. I just can't think of her name. If she's on here, I think she is. Please put it on the chat. Identify yourself. She used to live in Canada, and now she's over in Georgia. She comes from Canada, and now she stays in Georgia. See what her name is, if she's on the live. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take some questions. Well, I'm still broadcasting, right? Yes, it is. I'm still broadcasting. This is interesting. Let me see. Yeah, it says that I'm live. So
On an iPhone.
no, I don't want an iPhone. I want to get rid of my iPhone. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just take random questions from the top down. So I'm going to do my best to get to new people who have never even addressed their question, okay? I'm going to try to be fair here, guys. I'm going to try to be fair. I want to welcome almost 39, almost 1,500 people in the house. Thank you so much for being here. 12 Central. Hello. Hello, Jose from Canada. Okay, those aren't questions. Please put your questions in capital letters, guys. I'm looking for question. I'm looking for questions, guys. Just bear with me. I want to look for a really good question. I guess I should be looking up. Yeah, I'm still broadcasting. I haven't been shut down. Somebody said if I was shut down that I all of a sudden stopped. No, I'm still broadcasting. So the reason I started from the top down is just to address people that I've never answered their question. New York is asking me if he will be able to see his deceased wife after we ascend. Yes, I do believe that they are going to already be there waiting for us. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Jenny Rodriguez is asking me, what's the outcome with the Andromedans? Well, they are our sister galaxy. In fact, some consider them our parent galaxy. The galaxy, the Milky Way and the Andromedan galaxy were once part of a supergalactic system known as the Anway. So we are re-merging once again with our Andromedan brothers and sisters. Well, Northern Lights is asking me if I know anything about the Order of the Guardians. Well, the Order of the Guardians are the different interdimensional councils that exist. Yes, they all serve the one infinite creator. They're all part of either the Emerald Order or different branches of the Emerald Order. And then I do have a super chat from Stuart Williams. Thank you, brother, for that. So generous of you. Shout out to Stuart Williams, who's in the house. Thank you. Yes, mark it in your calendars, guys. The 8th of April, 10 a.m. PST, mass meditation, broadcasting from everywhere on the planet, calling in the great solar flash. We are going to be proactive, guys. We're no longer going to wait. We're going to call it right in. We're going to intend it. Christina Estrada is asking, will those that are asleep wake up? And the answer to that is absolutely. There's going to be an attempt to wake them up. They're still going to have free will, though. So George 8350 is asking me if there are any Elohim left in the underground of Antarctica. Well, what's left in the underground of Antarctica is only positive giants, positive extraterrestrials from dimensions beyond the seventh or eighth. All right, they come from higher frequencies, and they are guarding the tree of life, which exists at the center of the earth. And it is believed that the civilizations that exist within the inner earth are also going to be rising very, very soon. Or is it that their reality is going to be merging with ours? So do me a favor, guys. If you guys could share this video far and wide, I really, really want to get a lot of people on that day for the collective meditation. So I want this message to reach as many people as possible so that we could have more. The more, the merrier. The more effective this meditation is going to be as we harness the energy of the solar eclipse. All right, this is a good question from Caroline Brown. She's asking me, if we have blockages, will we ascend? It's going to be a little painful, but yeah, if you come from a higher dimension, if you are a volunteer, chances are that you're going to be reconnecting and merging with your galactic body when the solar flash takes place. The best thing to do if you feel like you guys have blockages, begin emotional cleaning. Begin letting go of those whatever's holding you back, whatever's causing the emotional blockage. Because listen, this super intense high frequency energy that is coming in is amplifying our emotional body, which in turn is amplifying our electrical circuits, which is the electrical field, right? That gives life force to our energy bodies and all of the bodies that we don't see in the mirror. So yes, our electrical, bioelectrical fields are being amplified right now as I speak. So in order to undergo a smooth transition, you have to clear any baggage, any emotional, anything that's holding you back. Okay, this is the time to just let go. Let go, guys. Let the universe handle everything else. Just surrender. So I do have a super chat from Leono, Leon of God. Leon of God. Hi, Ishmael. It's Ariana. So glad you resonated with the idea. Oh, there's Ariana. Awesome. Ariana is the girl that I was referring to, who was part of my 10 o'clock class this morning, which was her 1 o'clock afternoon. So, yes, it was Ariana. Thank you so much for the idea, sister. She was the one who told me, why not use that day to call in, the great solar flash, to call in the energies of the solar flash. And I was like, oh my God, that's like, obviously that message was coming from the universe through you, Ariana. So thank you so much for being a channel of that. Thank you. Thank you. So she says, so glad you resonated with the idea regarding the solar flash meditation. The more souls we have, the more powerful it will be when we call in the ascension energies. This will be big. Absolutely, sister. Absolutely. Like I said, now I'm not going to forget your name because I learned it for the second time. But your faces, I don't forget because I am more right brain than I am left brain. I don't know if you guys knew that. So I see things in pictures, right? In visuals. That's how I learned, by the way, when I was a kid. I learned through visuals. So thank you, Ariana, for being here. And I will see you next week in class 2. In class number 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just continue taking questions. All right, let's see. This is a good question from our brother Tony Lopez. He's asking, did you ever watch the movie Lucy? Yeah, I mean, that is a perfect example of what would happen, guys, when we begin to use more capacity, more potential. All right. Some of us are going to go from 4% to 50%. We're going to do a huge jump, right? Whereas the earth terrans are going to go in increments. Some of us are going to go from 4% to 60, 70, 80, and even a small number of us, a smaller group of us is going to go all the way to 100. And you know what happens at 100%? You're like a 0 point energy, technology yourself. You're able to manifest at the speed of light by just thinking it. By just thinking it and feeling it, you're going to be able to co-create instantaneously. That's why I always tell people it is important to what? To be mindful of your thoughts, to be mindful of your feelings, because you're co-creating. You're co-creating. Deanna T said, I got all my family, our cosmic origins in Audible and paperback. Thank you so much, Deanna T, for spreading my message. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, a big shout out to Deanna T for doing so. It says, this message is held for review. I wonder what that was. All right. Yeah, I don't even want to mention what's happening with social media, but there's a lot of turnovers that are going to be taking place as a result of that. And what I'm starting to believe is that the Earth Alliance is going to buy them all out, or at least they're going to only create their own version, or buy them out, take them over, and now it'll be a real free platform. All right, where things aren't censored anymore. Um, Somebody keeps asking me, what is TLS? Again, guys, I've never heard of TLS. All right. I'm only, I only have knowledge of the Earth Alliance. All right. That's it. The White Hats. I don't know what TLS, that's Jason's thing. I've never heard of it. All I know is that the Earth Alliance is what I am involved with. And unconsciously, whether you know it or not, so is each and every single one of you. All right. Did you guys know that each and every single one of you is a white hat? I wouldn't doubt it if a lot of you guys here have altars, right? In other words, you guys were part of the programs unknowingly with no recollection. So let's see. Yes, that's what, according to Jason, it stands for the light system. But again, I know them as the Earth Alliance, all right? I know them as the Earth Alliance, as the Wyatts. And guys, they've been around since ancient times. In fact, one of the things that I talk about wherever my book is, in The Secret Government, is I actually talk about the history of the White Hats that could be traceable back to Egypt, where they originated. Exactly. They actually originated in Egypt. They were the resistance when the Atlanteans became corrupt. They were the resistance. And then later they reorganized as the Osiris groups of Egypt. All right, so I do have a super chat from Sunshine. Thank you, sister, for your generous super chat. She says, love you all galactic Jedis. Hi, guys. Hang in there. Absolutely, guys. Beautiful message. Thank you for that reminder, Sunshine. Hang in there, guys. We're going to bring in the solar flash this coming April. Thank you, Sunshine, for saying that. There we go. Thank you, Edward. Edward says, I just wanted you to know how much we love you, Ishmael, brother Ishmael, and we love all the Jedis too. Likewise, I love all the love here in the chat. Thank you, guys, that we all have for one another. As a reminder, guys, I created a platform, a forum in my website where we could interact uncensored, talk about whatever we want. My website, again, is ourcosmicorigin.com. If you guys haven't signed up for the forum, all you need is your email, and that's it. And we could chat freely there. I want to bring all the Galactic Jedis into one forum. That would be great. All right, so this is a good question from our sister Kim Gratian. She says, hello, Ishmael. I am from Australia. I am on strong medication. Will this hold me back from ascension? Thank you. No, like I said, it's not going to hold you back, but do yourself a favor, Kim. Unless you need the medication for some sort of a physical terminal illness, let go of the medication. Allow the natural healing processes of your body to regenerate you. Maybe I shouldn't say that here on this media platform, but I wouldn't worry about it, Kim. I wouldn't worry about it. You'll be okay, sister. I'm just looking for questions so I can answer, guys. I'm looking for good questions. I'm going through the chat. I'm actually trying to answer questions that I haven't never answered, like people that I've never even acknowledged. So this is a good question from Debbie. Our sister Debbie Gender is asking, how much of our DNA is activated at this moment? or is it based individually? Debbie, that is a very good question. Okay, so we do know that the solar flares, right, the CMEs are activating. They're communicating with their cells, right? We do know that they are activating new codons. It all depends on where you descended from. So, for instance, star seeds that came from dimensions 5 are going to activate about, I would say, 10 additional strands of DNA. Star seeds that descend from dimensions 8 are going to activate 26 strands of DNA. Star seeds that descended from dimensions 12 are going to activate 48 strands of DNA, and so on and so forth. So it depends on which dimension you came from. That will determine how much genetic strands you'll be using when the activation takes place. But I would say that etherically speaking, there is a fusion taking place between our physical bodies and our energetic vehicles, right? So yes, that in turn is activating DNA. So that explains why we get tired during the day. That explains why some of us are having a difficulty sleeping at night, waking up at 2:30 in the morning and not sleeping for a couple hours. It's because your body is getting adjusted to the new set. You could say, you know, how there's AGTP, I'm sorry, which are the 4 letters that are involved within our DNA sequencing. Well, our body is being readjusted to a new set of instructions, you could say, a new set of instructions that are going to activate new genetic potential. So, and when that happens, guys, you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. Your telepathy is going to be back on. Some of you are going to be telekinetic, like Jedi's, where you can move objects with your mind. Some of you are going to be able to levitate. Some of you are going to be able to have super speed and run like like a cheetah, like fast. Some of you are going to be able to teleport, depending on how much potential you use. So everyone's going to have different abilities, different gifts. So this is a good question from ML Houston, Lynn, ML Houston, Lynn from Washington State. She's asking, how do you release everything that is holding us down? Well, the best way to release is just to forgive. All right. The reason I say forgive is because the reason why we build emotional blockages is because we're still holding on to things. If you guys think about it, the moment we let go of those things that are creating these blockages, we clear ourselves and we allow more energy to come in as a result of that. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close my door. So yeah, that's the best way to clear, is to just, release everything that has been holding you back, grudges. Um, what's another word I'm looking for? Envy. Holding back emotional trauma from when we were kids. We have to let go of everything at this point. So if you guys could do me a favor and share this video to as many people as possible, Not only, do they need to understand what's happening on an intergalactic and universal level of reality, right? Intergalactic politics, but they also need to be aware that this mass meditation is very important for the ascension of the human race. And the more people we gather on the 8th of April, the better the outcome. So I will be making an announcement on my Instagram, and then I'm going to post it all over my social media, letting everybody know about the 8th of April global mass meditation. It's on. So Trenton Williams, thank you so much, brother, for your super chat. You're saying, so hybrid souls are several races from many different dimensions. So how do you know how much DNA gets turned on for the hybrid souls after the flash? Well, that's kind of like the same question that the other galactic Jedi asked. How much potential we're going to use? So if you consider yourself a hybrid soul, chances are that you're probably going to be using more than 12 strands of DNA, which means that you've been around, you've been existing everywhere, and in fact, based on the quantum physics law of superposition, you're still existing everywhere and simultaneously. You're everywhere. You're all over the cosmos, right? You have bodies everywhere. So, if you're a hybrid soul, chances are you're probably going to be using 100% of your full capacity, which is full power. So David Williams is asking, where do metal surgical implants go after the flash? Well, they dissolve. They dissolve, right? The solar flash is also acting as an EMP to all metal technology, whether it's in your body or whether it's outside. So it dissolves. So this is a good question. Tracy Gardner says, Ishmael, are the children of starseeds also starseeds? Not in every case. All right. Not in every case. Okay. So my mother was a starseed, but her sisters weren't. She had 9 sisters. She was 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 children, right? Total of 10, 9 sisters. None of them were starseeds. Only my mother. So no, in most cases, no. Because of the fact that I have 2 siblings, or 3 rather. Well, one of them is half sibling. In other words, he has a different father, but none of them are star seeds. So no. So my mother gave birth to me, my brother, my younger sister, who are not star seeds. So the answer to that is no. So yeah, that's the best way to answer that. I do have another super chat from Trenton Williams. Oh, I've already answered that, or did I? Wait, hold on. Is this another question from Trenton Williams? So hybrid souls are several races from many different dimensions, correct? So how do you know how many DNA or how much DNA gets turned on for the hybrid soul after the flash? I guess we're all going to find out, guys. We're all different, right? We all came in with a certain energetic resonance, and that resonance is mathematically tied into all of your versions, every aspect of yourself, and existing on every level of reality, on every timeline. So that will all determine on that. So this is a good question from Caroline. Ooh, it looked like there was an earthquake here, right? No, no, it was me tapping my desk and my camera was moving. So this is a good question from, oh, where did it go? The chat's going so fast, I lost it. All right, so will the solar flash correct our aging gene that was fused long ago? Absolutely, yes. We're going to go back to regenerating. Absolutely, guys. There was a cap on our telomere, right? There is scientific evidence for that. That was installed by the negative Anunnaki. All right. This is on top of them also putting astral implants within our astral bodies in order to stop a chemical from producing called pinolin and beta carboline, which is what fed our pituitary gland, which is what fed our pineal gland, causing us to use our full deck when our right hemisphere and our left hemisphere were working together as one. That's all coming back, guys. So the capping in the telomeres is being dissolved. In other words, the telomeres, chromosome number 2 is going to be regenerated. I do have a super chat from Cosmic Goddess. Welcome. She says, "Hi, Ishmael. How do we know what dimension we're from?" I guess that's a general question that a lot of you have. What dimensions are first wave volunteers from? Well, from what I understand is that the first waivers come from dimensions 5 and 6. 5 and 6, because they're here to prepare. The second waivers, the third, and now the fourth waivers, which are coming in the numbers. Those are called the crystals. So I would say that the first waivers that came in the 1940s, 1950s, were coming from dimensions 5 and 6. And then, of course, after that, we have the second waivers, which started coming in the 60s and 70s, and some say even early 80s. They were coming in from dimensions 6, 7, and 8. So your question is, how do we know what dimension we're from? You know, that all depends on, you're the only one that can answer that question, in other words. Go within yourself, Cosmic Goddess, talk to your higher self, and ask your higher self to reveal to you what dimension she comes from. Because I don't know, I can't read your energy. There's over 1,400 people on the chat. You know, to me, it's just the collective energy that I'm reading, which is a mesh of all your energies. Okay, so I can't really pin down. However, if you're in my class, my cosmology class, then I could pin down your energy, because then I'll be on a Zoom call with you, where I will be interacting with you visually, and then I could pin down your energy, and based on what I feel, I could tell you what dimension you're from. But when I have over 1,400 people and I don't know exactly what, I need to see your face so that I can feel your energy. Then I'll know. So for those that are in my course currently, whether it's my Wednesday course or Monday course, if you guys want me to read your energy and pretty much intuitively see what dimension you come from, I'll go ahead and do that for you guys at the end of class 4. At the end of class 4, when I teach you guys also the 2 methods that will allow you guys to become multidimensional. Thank you. Debbie Gender says, everybody share it. Doesn't cost anything, just a few minutes of your time. That's true. More than anything, guys, please share this live. I want this announcement about this collective meditation on the 8th of April to be, heard by a lot of people. That would be great, because the more people we get, the merrier. Thank you for reminding us. Okay, so Kim Gratian is asking me, this might seem like a strange question. Does being obsessed with gaining crystals mean that I am a starseed? And the answer to that is, if you're into crystals, stones, if you are into Reiki, if you're into anything that is what they call New Age, chances are, yes, you are a starseed. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're into like drumming, sound baths, yoga, ceremony, ceremony, spiritual activities, whatever you want to call it, then chances are you are a starseed. Yes, absolutely. I don't want to call it New Age, guys. Let's just call it New Earth. New Earth science. That's what we should call it, the New Earth science. Because New Age sounds like another religion. So we'll call it the New Earth science, right? Yes, in a way, the cabal did infiltrate the New Age movement in order to create a faction that is evolving into a New Age religion by installing the concept of some sort of an alien God savior, right? I'm seeing a lot of that in our community when I go to conferences. So we have to be wary of that, guys, that we're not, that we have the discernment, right? When we listen to people speak, when we listen to channel information, transmissions, we have to have the discernment to, feel if it's empowering you or if it's dispowering you. If it's dispowering you, chances are that it's New Age propaganda, right? Designed by the cabal. If it's empowering you, then you know it's not New Age propaganda. That's one way to detect. All right, guys, 9 more minutes for a few more questions. So Johnny Joni Lewandowski is asking, how can we help our close-minded family and friends to come along? Well, you do it through example, right? By example, that's it. You plant seeds, you live accordingly, and allow your energy to transform theirs. In other words, so you do it through example and by planting seeds. Good night, Radiant Guardian. She says good night. She has to bounce now. Thank you for being here on the chat. Radiant Guardians is always here. Sylvia Vidal, Cosmo Grow, Neo, Tony Lopez. I just want to acknowledge, Simone S, Galactic Angel, Ravens. You guys are like you guys are always here. You guys never miss a live. I love that. Teresa is always here. Who else is always here? Elizabeth Moody, Diana77 is always here. I'm just reading, Mara Jane G, Galactic Angel, Silva Vidal. I just want to acknowledge some of the Galactic Jedis. Ricky Lee's in the house, Laura May, MJF. Who else is in the house? Elizabeth Moody, Abara's in the house. Jenny Rodriguez, Chastine Rose. Hi, Chastine Rose. Hi, right back. She's saying hi. Hello, Ishmael. Project Skyfalls is in the house. Patrick Shaw is in the house. Cynthia 144 is in the house. And Cynthia 144 has a question. It would be wonderful if you interview Carrie K on YouTube. Who is Carrie K? I don't know. I've never heard of Carrie K. You both have much in common. Infinite love and gratitude. Thank you for letting me know that, Cynthia. Carrie K. Does anybody know who Carrie K is? Okay, so just Showa. John is in the house. How you doing, brother? Cherish Boehm is in the house. Cosmic Goddess. I've already mentioned her. Who else? Linda Wang. Hello, Linda Wang. She's in the house. Patricia Rodriguez. New York is in the house. America Sosa is in the house. Nancy, Golden Arrow, Chantel, Diana77, and everybody else that's in the house. All 1,400 people that is in the house. Thank you guys for being here. So I'm going to take 2 more questions, guys. 2 more questions. Amanda Tempori saying, got your book, and she's reading it. Awesome. Thank you. Enjoy all of that galactic information. Enjoy it, Amanda. Who else is in the house? For those that don't know where to get my second edition, which is the revised version with the new added chapter, I always put the link on every video, or you could just get it through my website, ourcosmicorigin.com. Let's see. So this is an interesting question. She's asking, Raven's Wings 33 is asking me if I've ever heard of the book 369. Sounds like a book that was written by Nikola Tesla, right? I'm not sure, but no, I've never heard of it. I do have one super chat that just came in from Always Be Yourself. That is good advice, sister. Always be yourself. And I extend that advice to everyone on here to never be anyone other than yourself. All right, guys? Always be authentic. Be authentic to yourself. All right? Let's see. Her question is, hi, Ishmael. Is Agartha real? And if so, did the Agarthians in the inner earth come from Mars? No, the Agarthians don't come from Mars. Okay, the humans, the civilization that came from Mars was a very masculine, service to self, patriarchal civilization. All right, the Martian colony was conquered long ago by the reptilians and AI. So no, they are not the Agarthians. The Agarthians actually are the remnant survivors of Lemuria, Atlantis, and then we all know, well, not all, but those that have read my book know that Lemuria and Atlantis were colonies that were established by the Lyrans, the Syrians, and the Pleiadians and other galactic humans from the positive star systems. So that's what the Agarthians are. They are a mesh of different galactic civilizations that are living in peace and that are part of the Galactic Federation, or now we call them the Galactic Alliance. I'm going to take one more question, guys. I'm going to take one more question. Cat W says, I am always here, but I don't chat much. Shout out to Cat W. How you doing, sister? Let's see, who else is in the house? Yes, guys, please hit the like button. It helps. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. And also always check your subscription, because I am aware that something does not want you guys to be here on the live, right? They keep unsubscribing you. So always check to make sure that you're subscribed. All right, let's, we are fighting a war here against, I don't want to say it, right? The machine. That's all I'm going to say, the machine. And the machine manipulates my computer and what goes on. Gemini Moon says, I am in the house. Hello, Gemini Moon. Shout out to Gemini Moon, who is in the house. Amanda Tempori says, thank you for writing it. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Yes, this book is, I guess, my greatest contribution to humanity in preparation towards a galactic community, right? towards a galactic community. Now, I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch my transmission from the Blue Avians. I put a lot into that video, a lot of editing. I hired somebody to do the editing to, give it some visuals, right? Because some of us learn through visuals. So if you guys haven't had a chance to watch my transmissions from the Blue Avians, please do. It was uploaded a few days ago. I think 3 days ago now. So go ahead and watch that if you guys can. And please don't forget to share this video with as many people as possible so that we can bring a lot of people to this global meditation event that is going to be taking place on the 8th of April, 2024 at 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And I'm also going to be announcing that on all of my social media platforms so that we could get more light workers to join. With that in mind, may the God force be with you guys. And we will see you Wednesday night for another live. God bless. Thank you.